Today on the Topic Show, Disney Snow White second trailer gets roasted and ratioed on the YouTube. The UK government continues to arrest citizens for posting on social media as they still don't have the First Amendment, let alone the Second Amendment. New Orleans attack left 10 dead and 30 injured. Citi and Bank of America exit woke commitments. X Twitter to start offering payments in 2025. A Hellcat powered minivan being made by Rich Rebuilds. And Stellantis forced to pay a $4.2 million fine for emission defeat devices. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder released twice a day. I see he's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me to see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have X Twitter to start offering payments in 2025 as they continue to bolster the platform. Now, this comes with thanks to Alexandra Coach, who is a writer at Fox Business, which somehow still in business. Pretty impressed. They've been leading talent left and right past couple of years. Now, she says, quote, X Money payment system to launch in 2025, X CEO. Linda Yaccarino says, buckle up and Happy New Year in a post last week. They say, quote, hours before ringing the New Year, CEO of X, formerly Twitter, as the Brits call it, or pronounce it rather, announced the platform will launch a payment system called X Money in 2025, which, at least they're consistent with their branding and pretty straightforward to the point. You know, X Money is going to be, what's it going to be about. They say that in a post, CEO Linda Yaccarino told its users are, quote, are the media and announced X will connect you in ways you never thought possible. He followed up by referencing X TV, X Money, Grok, and more. Is buckle up and Happy New Year. Now she continues in her statement. Apologies for that. Which they say, quote, an official account also popped up called X Payment or Payments called X Money that was created as well. As of Tuesday, the account already has 140,000 followers. We have yet to have an additional comment from Elon Musk. Now, one of the first comments in this article comes from another idea. It says, there's a market to undercut the credit card companies that charge 5% to businesses for every credit card payment. I hope he challenges it. Yep, exactly. And that is more, it's not a monopoly, more of a duopoly when you look at the major credit card processors in the United States, with Visa being the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Again, when you go to the stores, one of the reasons your product costs more than it would if you use cash, well, in some cases they discount it, but it's usually a 4 to 5% surcharge from the credit card processing company that goes directly to the Visa, which is why they're a multi-billion-dollar business. You mostly see the delta in terms of advertising prices at gun stores, where they will give you a cash discount, or they'll actually, in many cases, on the individual prices of the firearms, they'll say a cash price versus a credit card price. And usually that delta is about 3 to 5%, because again, they don't need to fork that money over to one of the major credit card processing payments. And with that duopoly, a lot of the competitors have been squeezed out the past couple of years, and business owners don't like that. I mean, they do it because it's a convenience, because darn near every American has a credit card. They shouldn't. I mean, we just passed $1 trillion in credit card debt in the United States for the first time ever. That's why I'm always very pessimistic when people get them. I always warn people, for the love of God, look at those interest rates. Make sure you pay them on time if you're going to have one. But in terms of the businesses, I mean, that is a big chunk of change that goes directly to payment processors, and it hurts them because everything, they have to mark up that cost because depending on the profit margins of the products, they can't absorb that 5%. Usually they have to pass it on to the consumer. So that'd be a great market to go after, especially mom and pop shops, where for a mom and pop shop, the rates are even higher because they'll get, like many things in our lives, there's a reason hot dogs in a bundle cost more at, a hot dog at New York Times or in New York City, it's going to cost you a lot for that hot dog in the corner versus going to something like a Costco you buy it in bulk, or they have their loss leader famously there. But usually the more volume of business you have, the lower cost per unit. And same for the payment processors. That's why a lot of the small mom and pop shops, the rates are a lot higher than something like Walmart, where they have an ungodly amount of transactions. With the major payment processors, they get a greater discount per transaction. So yeah, especially small businesses, I think they would love this new way to process payments. Major Buzzkill, oh, it sounds like a disappointing comment, but we'll read his comment nevertheless. He says, quote, nice, here comes the parallel economy we've been talking about, getting 5 likes, which, yeah, that's actually Major Buzzkill. That's his comment was actually not Buzzkill. It's a good one. You also have looking forward, says, quote, Musk must acknowledge, man, what the heck? We have pop-ups, Fox business, which, yeah, no one clicks the pop-ups these days. Now, Musk must be acknowledged, man of the year along with Trump, Nobel Prize for Literature and Philanthropic Humanitarian of Purchase, Pulitzer Prize for exposing suppression of freedom of speech in the press, and more. Got 8 likes. Revolution USA says, quote, rats also have a payment system. It's called 10% for the big guy. Yeah. And do whatever you can or you want with the added benefit to get out of jail free card, which, well, Hunter Biden he got the ultimate get out of jail free card with a blanket pardon that was all encompassing, which, yeah, that was insane. Though not unsurprising these days. Petty says, looking forward to X email the most, getting 4 likes, which, yeah, that might be something. I mean, Lord knows no one likes the Gmail because how much they censor conservatives. It's been estimated that conservatives lose a couple $1 billion per year in fundraising mechanisms or fundraising donations because, unlike Democrat email donations, just do not get flagged as spam. Conservative ones have been shown, and thanks to Ted Cruz, he actually did show evidence of this. Well, if you're a conservative trying to raise money, you're sending out emails or campaign emails, and they have Gmail, it automatically puts it in the spam folder, which, let's be honest, unless you're a nerd like me and look at every single email, most people never check their spam folder, except maybe once per year. So yeah, it has political implications as well. So yeah, if you had a free email, or granted you're going to pay for it with your data or in some way, I think there's a fair amount of people who would like an alternative to the Gmail, which currently has probably the biggest market share in terms of free financial-wise to the consumer. So again, you pay with your data. You have voted Red Till Red Dead says Musk finalized his purchase of Twitter in October 22. Stop the whole formally, blah, 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 getting 3 likes. So he really doesn't like the old name, I guess. I want to breathe free. No, Wester Dalton says, quote, a little late, there are dozens of fintechs in the U.S. consumers who don't need hundreds of payment platforms, which, again, if you could have one, yeah, yeah, there's competition out there, but again, there's also a big opportunity, I think. Especially if you could find his niche, especially firearm places, FFLs, I think would love this. If you have a decrease that rate that'd probably be the best. I know Toast is one of the biggest payment processors for the financial, or rather more specifically, the restaurant industry. They've been growing pretty consistently. Kind of, and good name for marketing. It's called Toast. I think it's cute. You see that in a lot of restaurants these days. But yeah, if he can find his niche and expand from there, again, I think it's going to be a great value add to the platform. But let me know, do you think it's a good way to expand X? Do you think, there's a lot of businesses and consumers that would appreciate it? Let me know, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have a Hellcat-powered minivan in creation thanks to rich rebuilds, which, yeah, is something that Dodge, Chrysler, Stellantis should have done a decade ago. But, of course, we know they've recently acquiesced to EVs, straight sixes, instead of a V8 Hellcat Hemi, which everyone wants. So we know that company has lost its way, though hopefully new leadership shakes things up a bit. Well, this comes to us thanks to Andrew Collins, who's a writer at The Drive. It says, quote, work begins for the real on world's first Hellcat V8-powered Chrysler minivan. And you can see the van actually being assembled there. It said, the dream of stuffing a supercharged V8 into a Chrysler Town & Country is finally coming to life as YouTuber Rich Rebuilds starts work on the long-awaited build, which here you can see the comical, huge, beautiful V8 Hellcat engine from Dodge, from Chrysler Stellantis. And then you can see it's been put into the frame of the minivan, and then they have the body that is going to be placed on top eventually, which, again, it's one of those fun, stupid things where Dodge, winding back the clock 10 years ago, they would have done this. They should have, but they didn't. Dodge was the brand for bombastic, fun V8, manly cars. They would put a huge V8 racing engine almost. Well, okay, it's not that great of an engine, but nevertheless, a huge V8 engine into like a little Jeep that soccer moms, probably 10 soccer moms bought to get to soccer practice really quick for their kids. But again, that's a fun, cool, unique thing. You're not going to make a massive volume of units, but to me, it elevates the brand. It just shows like the fun of the brand of putting a big engine in a little, pretty much anything. Yeah, it's going to be a small volume of units, but it's still fun. And they say, quote, Rich Bonneau of Rich Rebuilds is running the arc of YouTube videos about the Hellcat swapped minivan. but he's not so much engine swapping as he is hacking a Dodge Charger Hellcat and Chrysler Town Country, dropping the van body onto the sedan powertrain. It's kind of a perfect project to watch from afar, but looks miserable working on, which, yeah, hammering all that, making it work together.
A couple weeks ago,
which is about an hour long. So definitely go to Rich Rebuild's YouTube channel if you want to check out the whole thing in detail. Here you watch a couple minutes of it. They're just, yeah, it's probably the best thing to happen with those minivans, because Lord knows, I mean, miserable to drive or own. I mean, my parents had a 2001 Dodge Grand Caravan, ironically named Grand Caravan, but there's nothing grand about it. I guess it's a grand pain in the ass when it turned into rust and disintegrated, but nothing grand in the good terms. Hilariously enough, they actually found a clean van in terms of the outside. There's not 18 pounds of rust on it and more dense than, you know, a car in Chicago. I actually found a clean body throw on this. But yeah, they're just chopping it up, forcing that little big old body cat, the Hellcat frame. And again, notice sometimes car things just make you smile, because who would think of doing this? Rich would. He's one of the best customizers out there. He's, I think, most famously known for taking a good old Tesla Model S and swapping it out with a V8 to make it, you know, gas powered. And he's done engine swaps for EVs as well, and put EVs in different cars throughout the years. So he does all sorts of modifications. It's really just awesome. Now, scrolling down, they also say, oh my gosh, the amount of research, the amount of hammering had to go into this, all that wrench work. I mean, can't imagine the hundreds of that. Oh, here we go. You actually see the car with all the body panels off. Or they actually slap on the minivan. Which, again, that engine and exhaust sound amazing.
Joey boy, what are you doing, man?
Drilling spot weld still.
This is Joey has.
Look at the size of that engine there. That's what every Dodge engine should be. Make Dodge great again. If the new CEO can actually do that. We'll see. Now going to the comment section, one of the first ones comes from Swoosh Boom saying, "No one ever said that anything about putting a van body in a Charger unibody frame. Everyone asked why Hellcat drivetrain couldn't do that in a Pacifica. It seems like these guys are making up things harder than themselves, but it's too late because they've already hacked the shit out of both cars." It got 5 likes. Bob Jalimsky says, quote, "I would have had a mid-engine twin-turbo V12 in a Hot Wheels Transit by now if my wife said no and mentioned divorce." Okay, 1 like. Brian says, "I actually wanted a Hellcat all-wheel drive Pacifica, so here's that project." Which, again, it's the same carbon copy as the Dodge, the Dodge Grand Caravan. The Chrysler Pacifica is the same exact thing. It's just slightly different logos plastered on the front and rear. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the final build. But yeah, definitely go to Rich Rebuild's YouTube channel and check out the whole thing, because that's just one of the most hilarious, fun things I've seen in like automotive aftermarket fun mods in a while. Which, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Dodge comes back from the, well, I don't know what the hell they're doing with straight sixes and EVs and killing the Hemi and their whole brand to me. But we'll see. To me, this is a fun little business note of the day, and yeah, we'll see how many people gravitate to this, and if they ever actually do this from a manufacturer perspective, I'd be really impressed. But let me know your thoughts. Do you ever think we'd see this type of marvel in our day? Let me know, because it's always be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the cultural part podcast, you have Disney's Snow White second trailer roasted by the comments and not getting very many likes. But interestingly enough, they left the comment section on. I'm pretty surprised here. This comes us straight from the donkey's mouth. It's Disney's YouTube channel called, well, quite literally just Disney. Got 5.9 million subscribers. I'm surprised it's quite a few. And of the 250,000 views this got less than 4,000 likes. That came in at 3.9 thousand likes, which, yeah, for Disney, that's also
and now
terrible. Yeah, they always have that pop up there. But let's just check it out. Maybe they surprise us with, eloquent acting and brilliance from Rachel Zegler, the Snow White, who calls it weird. Maybe. Probably not, but we'll dive on in.
And now a special look at Disney's Snow White in theaters everywhere March 21st.
My father told me long ago I braved a bitter storm of snow. Is that a girl I'll ever know again? I'm waiting on a wish beneath 1,000 treetops, and And as the silver sky stops, I long to leave the walls behind me, waiting on a wish, holding out for someday.
That's supposed to be beautiful, princess, that the evil queen is jealous of her looks. Yeah, no one is jealous of those looks.
Hoping somehow, someway, there comes a miracle to find me.
One was awkward. I mean, almost like Jay Leno's chin and more teeth than like a piranha. Just like a cross between Jay Leno and a piranha. Yeah, that's coming from me. I don't know much ground to stand on. But again, she has Hollywood makeup. She should be able to fix most of those things, I would think. Apparently not. Though, one could argue her personality is infinitely more disgusting and visually unappealing than her body. I could contend with that, because again, this is the gal who consistently dissed the original intellectual property of Snow White and called it weird, the whole premise.
Eyes and see the girl I'm meant to be. Is she a part of me? I've had to hide, waiting on a wish.
Disney Snow White. In theaters March 21st. And now...
Well, maybe perhaps a grammatical error. They say in theaters. I don't think more than one theater will actually want to show this. Also, this is worse than the first trailer because it didn't show the queen, who's infinitely more attractive than Rachel Zegler. Yeah, that bar is pretty damn low, understandably, but still, at least in that preview, you actually got to see, what was it, thanks to the Google, I actually know that gal's name is Gal Gadot, and she is, in fact, a gal, so A+ for the name and marketing. But yeah, this somehow got 3.9 thousand likes, which, yes, it is still technically more likes than my videos get. So from a ratio perspective, 3.9 thousand likes out of 5 million subscribers. And last week, one of my videos got 12 likes, and I have 3.68 thousand subscribers. No, 6.67. Nevertheless, I think my ratio is better. But maybe every comment is saying, "Girl power, you're amazing, you're right. This will be great." Maybe probably not, but let's dive on in. One of the first comments comes from Robert Tanner saying, quote, "Snow White, I don't need no man, snap. Prince Charming, don't flatter yourself, shorty. I'm here to see your stepmother." Getting 1.6 thousand likes because, yes, the evil step queen, or she's not 1,000, perhaps 1.9 million times more attractive than Rachel Zegler. Prince Skilly says, quote, "The evil queen pushes Snow White down the well and lives happily ever after with the prince." That's my headcanon. Getting 971 likes. Stepper says, "End of this movie should be the queen and the prince live happily ever after." Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Abdullah Dictator says, "I sincerely want to see Gal Gadot win and marry the handsome prince." Getting 259 likes. Emperor Sin says, "The movie is based on a parallel universe where Snow White is evil and the queen is innocent." Getting 2.1 thousand likes. Saw says, "I only wish for this movie to be buried or forgotten or erased completely. I hope not. I hope the evil queen wins." Getting 803 likes, which maybe I'll do a YouTube poll or something about that. Michael Betson says people will only watch the movie if the evil queen wins. Getting 981 likes. Miss Ashia says, quote, "Rachel Zegler, I don't need you, Prince. Prince, shut up, toilet." Wow. Prince, shut up, toilet cleaner. I'm here for the real Snow White, Gal Gadot. Getting 147 likes. So far, not a single positive comment. Martin says, quote, "Spare a thought for the poor Gal Gadot, who has to master the biggest acting challenge of her career, pretending she's envious of Rachel Zegler's Lord Farquaad look." Getting 1.3 thousand likes. Is that how you pronounce it? Or Farquaad? It's been like 20 years since I've seen this Shrek. But I do remember it's from that film. But yeah, that is true acting. If Gal Gadot could really act jealous of Rachel Zegler's looks, that very well might make Gal Gadot one of the best actresses in history if she could actually pull that off. I mean, I can't help but think on set she's probably laughing the whole time, like, no one's gonna believe this shit. But nevertheless. Yeah, Abria says, quote, "Disney just released another video getting stormed by the Queen supporters," getting 395 likes. Andy says, quote, "I will only watch it if the Queen gets to live happily ever after with the Prince," getting 23 likes. Michael Betson says, quote, "The people have spoken. We want to see Gal Gadot win. Make Gal Gadot win, and we'll watch Snow White," getting 827 likes. One for me as well. Shadow Bro says, "If the evil queen doesn't win, we riot," getting 950 likes. The Chocolate says, quote, "Let's be honest, there's only one star of the Snow White movie, Gal Gadot," getting 728 likes. Still not a single positive comment. Let's see. Omni says Disney, it's about outer beauty. Audience, Gal Gadot wins easily. Disney, it's about inner beauty. Audience, Gal Gadot wins even more easily. Getting 1.7 thousand likes. Yep, that sounds about right. Again, how stupid are the executives at Disney where they hired Rachel Zegler, which F minus idea to begin with, but she's consistently said that she doesn't like the original idea of the princess being saved by a prince, and she's literally called it like, and again, she does her weird ass head bob, and I'll attempt her rudimentary accent or impression. She goes, yeah, it's outdated, it's made in 1930s, which is very apparent, weird, which, yeah, her mannerisms are even weirder than mine, and more awkward, I would argue, which is saying something. But yeah, no one's cheering for Rachel Zegler. And again, she also claims she only went to the ride once and saw the movie once as a kid. So she's either lying or I can't imagine you only seeing that once as a kid. Even I, with my family, the family movie nights, even my sister would get to choose the movie, seems like more often than not. But even I saw it once when I was a kid. I wasn't a fan of it. But you also had the red-winged sailor saying, quote, EQ, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Mirror, it's you, my queen. Roll credit. Getting 644 likes, which, yeah, exactly. That guy says, long live the true beauty, Gal Gadot, getting 451 likes. Yeah, there's not a single person sticking up for Rachel Zegler. We also have Sham saying, Rudy for Evil Queen all the way, getting 303 likes. Patrick Stevenson says, I want the queen to win, getting 143 likes. See, there's any contrary statements? I don't think so. Ting Shang says, quote, Rachel Zegler, I know what you do, Prince. Prince, step aside, Farquaad, I'm here for the real Snow White. Yeah, very similar comment to before, getting 560 likes. Pumpkin says, Disney, please listen to the people and make Gal Gadot win. We want to see the Gal Gadot win over Rachel Zegler, getting 267, so I get 268 likes. One more. NORAD says, the only way to get people on your side, Disney, is to let Gal Gadot win, getting 467 likes. Oh, one more. Shadow says, I'm still rooting for the Evil Queen, getting 635 likes. Now, the real question is, will this actually make them any money? Will they make a profit on this trash? Again, they've had to do rewrites. They've had to do recasting of, what is it? Where's it perfect? Where's that? I don't know. Her teeth look weird as hell, too. Is that just me? I mean, she reminds me of Stan Smith from American Dad. That chin right there. The resemblance is uncanny. But, again, they've had to rewrite this. Originally, they had the seven dwarves were going to be non-binary, weird-looking people. Again, there's a visceral reaction, especially from the little community, or the midget community, what's it called? The dwarf community. Because again, those are real acting roles for them, and a great way to get into the industry. Again, specific role. I mean, that's Peter Dinklage, of course, that little brat. He said, oh no, you shouldn't. Only I should get to benefit from my dwarfism. But again, they had to do a rewrite for that. They had to delay it being released multiple times. Again, they spent a lot of money on advertising too. The usual rule of thumb for Hollywood is whatever it costs for production of the film, usually spend 2x on advertising it. And with how much the sunk cost on this is so big. I mean, the sunk cost fallacy is a real phenomenon in which, you put so much money into something, you think you have to spend even more just to get break even or make money. You just think you have to go for it. I mean, I don't know who at Disney thinks it's a good idea. Except with all the money they spend and all the feedback they're getting. Yes, there are some Disney, especially the Disney adults who creep me out, but there are some people who will watch Disney intellectual properties no matter what the substance is. They're just part of the Disney culture. Don't get me wrong, there will be sales for this film, but I don't see how it will possibly, conceivably, ever make a profit. I mean, we scrolled, I wasn't being selective, I was going through all the top comments there. I read them all. They were all negative. Now, I'm sure there's one or two positive comments if you scroll long enough, but those aren't the ones getting the most likes and the most responses and most replies. I don't conceivably see how Disney is going to actually make any profit out of this film. And they've delayed it multiple times with more and more negative reactions. I wonder, they say they have the release date in March in theaters, so they can probably be theater. I'm only partially exaggerating, but yeah, let me know in the comments. Do you think, will Disney actually break even on this film? Do you think they'll lose money? Or somehow, do you think they'll actually make a profit? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have the United UK government arresting citizens for memes while protecting illegals. Yep. Never forget how important it is to have the First Amendment in the United States, and thank God Trump won. Because then Tim Walz, was going to say the weird guy from Minnesota, who has also been conquered by Somalia. Well, Tim Walz famously said there's no such thing as a guarantee of free speech. He said that disinformation is not protected and hate speech is not protected, which, spoiler, they are. Hate speech is viscerally, I find a lot of it viscerally disgusting, though by his definition, hate speech is just speech that he hates. We see this very much from leftists many of the time. And when it comes to disinformation, as we've seen multiple times, yesterday's conspiracy theory seems to be today's facts. Now, very few states on the planet have beauty in such things as the Second Amendment and the First Amendment. Never forget how close we were to losing the First Amendment. Now, this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness on X, when he says, quote, "Welcome to the UK, where migrant gangs..." Oh, geez. Every years I try to keep this moderately family-friendly, and I'm going to reword his vernacular to make it not quite as graphic in terms of people being hurt, but you'll get the gist. So he says, quote, "Welcome to the UK, where migrant gangs of child abusers are protected and citizens are rounded up over retweets." And the only thing the UK does right these days is, at least he might be morally vacuous and evil and dirt politician, but at least he did suit up. He did one thing right in his life. Bar is pretty damn low, but still, he did one thing right, this interviewee.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
Yeah, we've also seen several instances of the police going up to citizens and just arresting them in the UK for simple Facebook memes and retweets. Again, not tweets in which, again, there are certain things in the United States that are not considered protected speech. If you say, "I'm going to attack this person at this time," and you give away your methodology as well, and you get very granular, that is a specific threat. Those are not protective. However, in America, where we have freedom, if you just say, "I don't like those people," or "I don't like this or that," well, it might be disgusting. That is protected speech. Not in these third world countries known as the UK, which has also been conquered. Now, this should have went more viral because it didn't, because people just have realized the UK is a hellhole and it's just declined so much they're not surprised by more tyranny spreading. But it got about 500,000 views as well as 33,000 likes. And one of the first comments comes from Elon Musk himself saying, quote, "What a pathetic cuck, throw him in prison too," getting 6.7 thousand likes. He also had anti-woke memes saying the UK government is an evil place. It's a meme of the bus driving in front of a train, and the bus is labeled "me reposting a funny meme," and the train crashing into it is labeled "UK police busting down my door." Fact check true, getting 70 likes. Also, Zupa says, quote, "You can get jailed for reposting in England," repost, getting 117 likes. Brianna Morello says, quote, "The UK sold out its people decades ago. Heartbreaking how they target and treat people they want to fight back and defend their women and culture," getting 192 likes. Gunther Eagleman simply has a clown face and world emoji, getting 117 likes. Planet Memes did not in fact respond in meme form, a little disappointed. He says it's evil, getting 36 likes. Going down more and more. Someone by the name of World Hall of Fun says, "Will not..." This is a quote. So he's quoting someone in New York. Inman said, "We will not stop until Islam enters every home." And it says, and he, as a quote, he says, "Europeans and Americans need to wake up. We need mass deportations." Is this DJ Khaled?
And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it.
Got 38 likes for that, though. Go down more and more. World Hall of Fun also says, known child abusers in the UK. What do you notice? And they all look to appear to be Muslim. They get 99 likes in that, or from Middle East. You can see the religious affiliation specifically. It says they got 99 likes. Nada has a picture of some police, and the caption says, quote, or the speech bubble says, quote, "It's not my fault. I just followed orders that the child abusers, murderers, women abusers, and thieves give me." Got 63 likes. What did you say? Has a picture of a gentleman holding the UK British flag. Says this is still Britain, and he says that in front of a bunch of Palestinian protesters or people with the Palestinian flag and ISIS flag. And then the UK police arrest the British man, says you're under arrest for hate speech, getting 35 likes. And yep, that actually did happen. Not in that specific vernacular, but there's an instance where a UK man was holding the Captain Jack Sparrow flag? I'm only partially kidding. He was holding their flag, and there's all these mobs or groups of people, very loud and bombastic with their other country's flags, and the police arrested the citizen. And they literally said, take down your flag, there's more of them than us. Yeah, the UK has become weak and conquered, getting 35 likes. Dr. Mom says, when a country protects criminals and punishes free speech, it's no longer a democracy, it's a tyranny. America should never follow this path. Must never follow this path, getting 70 likes. We also have anti-left meme says the UK is a tyrannical hellhole. There's a picture of police breaching a door. It says, when you live in Britain and tell a joke at a dinner party, but your joke license expired 13 seconds ago. 34 likes. John says, welcome to the UK, where they protect predators and punish truth tellers, getting 73 likes. Michael Neal says the UK is lost unless the US, Scottish, and Irish make a bunch of guns and rise up, getting 9 likes, which they won't. A lot of people saying this is hell. The flag guy says this is what would happen in America if Kamala won, getting 58 likes, which, again, Tim Walz famously said is no guarantee of free speech. And again, when they say hate speech, it's just speech that they hate, and they've seen this time and time again. So, yeah, I think there's a few more than just a simple 1 or 2 grains of truth to the flag guy. Geronimo says a total abdication of morality is what this is. One could not be making up such a dystopian hellscape, getting 20 likes, which, yeah, oddly reminiscent of 1984, one of the most brilliant novels ever written, specifically written by George Orwell. I would think that's probably a reason they don't teach in most public schools in the United States these days. It's quite sad when you realize some parts of the book are actually tame compared to what governments are doing these days. But yet the UK continues to fall, and we'll see if it gets better anytime soon. But let's just say I'm pretty pessimistic, and let me know if you live in a country that does not specifically have freedom of speech. What is it like in your area? What do you folks do to rebel? And let me know your other thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have New Orleans attack left 10 dead and 30 injured. Now, a lot of people are speculating this is, what continues to happen when you have basically DEI and national security. And one of the most famous posts comes from I meme, therefore I am. And apologize, it took a couple days for me to get to the story. He says, quote, breaking, at least 10 people were killed and more than 30 injured in a New Orleans attack after a man driving a pickup truck plowed into a large crowd in New Orleans. There you can see the aftermath of some of that driving. A lot of people on the ground injured. There you see the truck has actually crashed.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And it went pretty well. Got 10 million views as well as 42,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Human Hater saying, quote, this video shows no ISIS flag but appears to be the same truck. Was there a flag? Getting 618 likes, which, one picture of it does seem to have it, and one does not. I meme, therefore I am says, I just watched again, it's there. It's been hit down a little bit, getting 599 likes. I also have Christina Portro saying, quote, oh Lord have mercy, the devil's coming out and swinging into the new year, getting 1.4 thousand likes. Going down more and more, you have my profile, interesting profile name, says, quote, stay away from public events until Trump cleans up the mess and Biden made, getting 661 likes. World Wall of Fun says, stay with me. Oh, this is his quotes. Islam has no place in Western society, getting 430 likes, which some people are speculating this individual's religion. Now, he also says, quote, picture 1, the New Orleans attacker had attached his black flag to the back of the car. Picture 2, this is what the upside down ISIS flag looks like. So he's trying to say how they look the same, which they look pretty similar. Got 283 likes. Let's see. Roscoe Smith says, Muslims be using cars for terrorist attacks lately. Just saying, getting 471 likes. Ricky said, quote, this vehicle had IEDs in it. Couldn't imagine the devastation of detonating explosions in a truck full of lithium batteries, getting 4 likes. In reference to the recent explosion of the Cybertruck out front of the Trump building. Astronaut Girl says, prayers for everyone infected, getting 22 likes. Scrolling down more and more. True Patriot says, release identity, getting 114 likes, which they did later. Magdalene for Life says, flashbacks of the Waukesha, Wisconsin Christmas parade. This is intentional, getting 173 likes. Old Rolled Wall of Fun also says Annie Kirkpatrick, this is a very intentional behavior. He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and damage that he did. There's a, looks like local head of the police. Maximus Thrax says, a man was driving this truck. Legacy Media says it was the truck itself that caused the pain and loss, getting 30 likes, which, yeah, I wonder if they'll call to ban trucks next. Probably. Well, no, maybe. Although they are trying to ban gas-powered trucks with the EV mandates, but I partially digress. Catherine the Best says, quote, I'm heartbroken for the people in New Orleans, especially the families of the victims, getting 74 likes. Someone did a Photoshop or a meme of South Park where you had the banks where they say, and it's gone, where Stan loses all his money. And it's that same guy, instead of saying, it's gone, it says, it's Muslims, getting 87 likes. Again, that's posted by Paso Smith. We also have Harrietta the Great says, terrorist attacks, say, getting 133 likes. Scrolling down more and more, you have Angelina saying, quote, recap of the attack in New Orleans. Pickup truck rammed in a crowd. Driver opened fire at police. 10 killed, 35 injured. 2 police officers shot. Mayors call it a terrorist attack. No word on suspect's motive. Suspect is dead. FBI takes over investigation. Bomb squad checking possible IDs. Next press conference at 10 a.m. Getting 452 likes. Let's have Chris Release saying the most unethical thing on earth is to film something like this. Getting 262 likes. More people taking pictures of the flag. Also have Joey Finger saying, is there going to be more than one suspect? With the poll being yes, no, maybe, with 57% saying yes, 20% no, 22% maybe, out of 290 votes. Let's see. Ricky says, what's the flag on the back of the truck? Getting 52 likes. Tyler Durden says, how long before? It's the Simpsons meme where they say, Bart, just say the line. And everyone looks at Bart and says, just say the line, FBI. And Bart has the FBI hat, says, he was on our radar. Getting 40 likes, which, yeah, they always are. They always seem to be. Peter Baker says, we need common sense truck laws now. Background checks on all truck buyers and no trucks within range of more than 20 miles. Getting 34 likes, which they're kind of already doing that. Again, Democrats and Republicans have voted on laws to have automatic shutoff features bastardized into vehicles. I believe it starts in 2020. Is it 2026? But yeah, it's right around the corner. They want to be able to remotely just shut off anything they want. Again, you'll own nothing and be happy, they say. Who says this is sad? Getting 13 likes. A lot of people speculating, what's this? What is this true motive? Is there more than one conspirator? I don't know if this is true, but Nelly says that's a Ford Lightning. It's not a truck. I got 17 likes, which, let me look up close really quick. Was it F-150 Lightning? I don't think so. I think it's just F-150. Let me see. Trying to get a close-up image of it. I mean, either way, that's a... Actually, no, was it? Yeah, I think it actually was. Granted, it's definitely not the most important of any of the details. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this story continues to develop. And yeah, can't but see more and more of these anecdotal things happening. And I do suspect they'll decrease in frequency once Trump gets in the office and returns law and order to the United States. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Citi and Bank of America exiting their woke commitments as they return to sanity, aka making a profit and doing what is best for the shareholders. Now, this comes to us appropriately enough from a Marxist website, a normal website called esgtoday.com, which at least A+ for marketing, you know exactly what they're going to be talking about. And again, you always want to get as many references as possible when you're investigating topics, get a good rounded opinion. And their website literally says ESG investigating news, analysis, research, and information. Now, this is credited to Mark Siegel, as a writer over there, saying, quote, Citi, Bank of America joined Goldman Sachs and Wells Fargo in exiting net zero banking group. Finally, some good news in finance. They're overdue for it. Shareholders should be happy. Now they say, quote, financial giants Citigroup and Bank of America have decided to exit the Net Zero Banking Alliance. Of course, they have a funny, weird acronym, NZBA. Sometimes I usually say acronyms always sound cooler. Maybe not in this case. The Marxist-backed, the UN, so I can't see the difference. The UN-backed coalition of banks dedicated to advancing global net zero goals through financing activities, marketing acceleration into departures from the group, following similar announcements from Goldman Sachs and Wells Fargo. Good. Because guess what? Companies, especially the oil industry, need financing, banks, and investments. Again, one of the biggest issues with oil exploration is the upfront investment, the upfront cost and risk, just drilling a new well. again, you can do a lot of preliminary research and you look at a lot of the data. There's a huge geology analysis industry in and of itself, but there's still some risk and there's still a huge upfront investment before you actually start to make a profit on those wells. Again, a lot of them are not self-financed, and it's because you have more and more woke banks turning their business away. That is increasing a lot of the costs because, again, there are fewer options. Then there's fewer options. Those banks can charge more interest. Not good for the industry or for the consumer because, again, that always trickles down to us and increases the cost of goods sold. Now, say, quote, launched in 2021 with Citi and Bank of America as founding members, the Net Zero Banking Alliance is a coalition of more than 140 banks spanning 44 countries. Members commit to transitioning operations and attributable greenhouse gas emissions from their financing activities to align with net zero pathways by 2050 and to set 2020 financial emissions targets initially focused on key emissions intensive sectors, aka giving less investments of money to oil industries and other similar fossil fuel manufacturers, refineries, and such. They say the NZBA forms part of Glasgow Financial Alliance, a UN-backed, again, not a fan of totalitarians over there, umbrella group of net zero focused financial sector coalitions, which also includes the Net Zero Asset Managers Initiative, NZAM, Net Zero Asset Owner Alliance, and called the NZOA, and Net Zero Financial Services Provider Alliance, the NZFSPA. Yes, they all do sound like jokes. Now, they say after a rapid expansion of early years of the decade, members of the various, what's this now? Another acronym, GFANZ, which, what does this stand for? Glasgow Financial Alliance Net Zero? Jeez. Have come under significant pressure, particularly from Republican politicians in the U.S., who have been warning financial institutions, including banks, insurers, asset owners, and investors, of potential legal violations of their participation in climate-focused alliances and the plans to exclude companies from state business as part of a broader anti-ESG political campaign. Several of these groups have seen high-profile departures over the past several months, with one of the coalitions, the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, being disbanded in 2024 following a string of exits. Citi announced a commitment early 2021, on the first day of Jane Fraser's tenure as CEO, to a 2050 net zero greenhouse gas financing target, and the bank has followed up with interim targets for financing emission reductions for key emission-sensitive sectors such as energy and power. In a statement published announcing its decision to leave the group, Citi reiterated its commitment to reach net zero and pledged support to GFANZ and its new focus to mobilizing capital to emerging markets to support low carbon transition. Now they say, quote, in light of this shift and Citi's progress towards our known net zero goals, we decided to leave the Net Zero Banking Alliance and focus on attention on supporting GFANZ during the new phase. Bank of America's net zero financial goal also dates early 2021. The bank has set various series to, again, interesting. What happened in 2021? Elections. The bank has also set a series of financial emission reduced targets, key sectors. In publication in late September 2024, the bank reiterated its goal to achieve net zero in its financing, operations, and supply chain by 2050, and set a financial emission target for iron and steel and maritime shipping sectors. So good news, because again, they start the reinvestments, so cost of goods should go down for those type of industries that we depend on, since pretty much everything we touch on a daily basis is an oil byproduct for the most part. And again, one of the best ways to decrease cost of goods sold for actual products that we buy from stores, like groceries, as well as knickknacks you don't need, like clothing and t-shirts. Well, you always make those last a little bit longer. You need to buy them maybe once every decade, but electronics, all that stuff. Again, one of the big contributing cost is the cost of transportation, which, yep, when gasoline costs more, or specifically diesel, again for the semi-trucks, when all that goes up, the cost is passed on to the consumer. So again, this is another ripple effect from the recent presidential election, I believe, in the United States. And I think we're going to see this spread more across the globe. Is, again, one of the things that we need, just a cornerstone or foundation of society, and especially for advanced societies, is cheap energy. And again, right now, with all the resources we have and all the things we have, it's still fossil fuels. Windmills are crap. They don't even break even until like 2 decades. Again, that's to break even. Not to mention all the oil byproducts that go into manufacturing and actually setting those things up. Solar, again, still about 15 to 25 years to break even. Depending where you live, Arizona, sure, you'll get a little bit better ROI. But again, still not great use in terms of getting your energy, best bang for your buck. Still fossil fuels for the time being. Again, I suspect this is good news. And again, with the race election, I think you'll have more and more companies follow suit and more businesses. But let me know, do you think it's just a temporary thing? You think I might switch in the next couple of weeks and might all join these giant Marxist, UN alliances? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. And going over to the business blunder of the day, Stellantis forced to pay $4 million for emission defeat devices, which, from a libertarian perspective, I kind of think, suck at EPA and leave businesses alone. But I understand you have regulations that like to kneecap American jobs or get rid of them, rather. That's what the government seems to like to do best. But hopefully that changes soon. Now, this comes thanks to Nico, who's a writer at The Drive. Now they say, quote, Stellantis must pay $4.2 million for diesel emissions defeat devices on ProMaster work vans. The settlement will be split in half, with one half being a civil penalty and the other half funding a project to help clean up cargo ship emissions. Which, yeah. Again, Stellantis is by no means on its own in this metric or this instance. I mean, Cummins, famously a diesel company, had a similar instance earlier in 2024. I want to say it's Q2. But again, every year the EPA kneecaps these companies more and more with fleet, not just, emissions standards being ratcheted up way too high, realistic, but also with fuel fleet EPA or mile per gallon rather mandates. Yeah, it's one of those things that these engineers being stretched to the limits. That's the reason why EVs are being pushed by people. It's a de facto ban on internal combustion engines. Again, one of the most famous issues with Volkswagen, they had a similar issue with diesel engines where they said they were cleaner than they were. These companies are just being beat left and right. They can barely make it, so they're taking shortcuts because they think they need to do this to stay alive, which, in certain instances, it's hard to argue with that when, again, you see them barely scraping by, and the government just makes they're basically making de facto these engines illegal. Now, again, diving into the actual article, they say, quote, here you can see one of those, it's definitely not attractive, but you can see, one of those transit vans, which, F- for marketing, but at least, some people do appreciate it. Definitely doesn't look appealing to me, but I partially digress. They say, quote, in case you haven't been paying attention, Volkswagen is no longer the only auto manufacturer associated with diesel emission defeat devices. Far from it. Actually, the Environmental Protection Agency and California Air Resources Board have been reaching settlements up to $1 billion, which, yeah, funny those states are still perpetually in debt. Where's all that money go again? Yeah, I would think Gavin Newsom's pocket, perhaps, allegedly. But, really, where does all this money actually go? Now, they say, quote, yes, really, there's another one on the list. It's Stellantis, this time required to pay $4.2 million for violating the carb emissions regulations and its diesel-powered ProMaster work vans. According to Reuters, Stellantis agreed to the settlement after a, quote, unproved device was found on 2014 to 2016 ProMaster 1500, 2500, and 2500 vans with 3-liter diesel engines. The device was allegedly installed to turn off emissions control during the normal driving in the wild, turning them back on during emissions testing. This resulted in an estimated 55 tons of extra nitrogen oxides pumped in there. Oh, dear God, what will we do? Oh, no. Yeah, realistically, it will invent devices to actually purge the air like they have in China with the scrubbers. And yeah, there'll be a better technology in terms of remediation. I suspect it'll be more efficient than kneecapping these devices in international vehicles, but another topic for another time, perhaps. Stellantis didn't respond to Drive's request for comment at the time of publishing. Well, we'll update the story if we do get one. The CARB Robust Compliance testing ensures that automakers sell exact vehicles that receive certifications for the sale in California without alterations made to skirt the state's regulations and receive excess emissions that harm quality air and public health, said CARB Executive Officer Dr. Stephen Cliff. The money will go in two places. More than $2 million will be designated to California's Air Pollution Control Fund as a civil penalty. Couple of things. So that's going to go to the $250,000 salaries of the people that work there. Like the homelessness issue, where California spent $25 billion trying to fix that, and their homeless rate went up, and they actually have nothing to show for it. Let's just say I don't think this money will go anywhere productive. They also know that the leftover $2.1 million helps fund a project that provides incentives for cargo ships to slow down in areas during peak whale and ozone seasons, benefiting both air and wildlife. So Stellantis making cars, granted, if they're foreign cars or manufactured outside the United States, they're coming here on a cargo ship. But yeah, it's going to pay to slow down those boats. Right. They say this isn't the first time Stellantis has been in trouble for emissions cheating. Hell, it isn't the first time this decade. In 2022, Stellantis pleaded guilty to criminal conspiracy to cheat diesel emissions regulations on Grand Cherokees and Ram trucks, paying a hefty $300 million fine. But I thought that fine was going to fix everything. That's what the government says. We need these fines. They're very important, we're told. By comparison, the recent settlement with CARB is just a drop in the bucket. Now, going to the top comments. SA 2822 says, companies keep doing this because they know the penalties are meaningless. This $4.2 million is especially pathetic. We need to hold the top executives at the top of these companies during the time personally and criminally liable. Which, yeah, personally, I don't know about that. Again, you have seen some penalties that do trickle up directly to executives. Part of it is actually showing on paper. Did they actually know? Did they actually instruct? That did get 6 likes, though. William Scott says the leftover $2.1 million helps fund a project that provides incentives for cargo ships to slow down in areas during peak whale and ozone seasons. Gumming up, guys. Gumming it up. Shit. Government. That's a new pejorative term I don't know about. I'll check the Urban Dictionary. Harberger says 42 million. Scary. Spooky. Hyenas. Retired Swami says the EPA is an agency that needs to be eliminated. Every one of their communist edicts is based on studies submitted to them from the communist wacko environmental Nazi fascists hell-bent on establishing the global Nazi world order. The EPA's biggest excuse for this, the EPA's biggest excuse for just all about this communist edicts is non-existent man-made climate change. Climate change is all on its own. I live in an area in the U.S. that has been under a mile of ice for 15 years ago. The Sahara Desert, this guy wrote a paragraph. The Sahara Desert was lush 6K years ago. Driving Super Duty with a diesel or Suburban did not change the climate. They melted the ice or turned Sahara into desert. He did get 1 like, though, for that. I mean, he is much more bombastic than I would ever be. And, yeah, I mean, I think there's some totalitarianness in terms of the government saying what you can and cannot drive, as well as controlling your vehicle remotely, which, again, with EVs are especially easy to do. Yeah, and I'm definitely not a fan of the world governments forcing crap down on Americans because we don't get to vote for them. But nevertheless, he definitely went out on a limb there. Someone by the name of Chewbacca says simplistic thinking. We're responding to him. Even if climate change isn't real, diesel causes smog, and this prevents smog. Getting 1 like. Mark says when everyone is doing it, these companies aren't the problem. The requirements are. You cannot legislate non-existent technology into being. Getting 1 like. Is there any more comments here? Let's see here. Do 1 more. Alaska Man, which A+ for marketing. I only thought there was a Florida Man, but thanks to we're seeing more and more of these. What is it? One of the comments on the drive was from Mr. Alaska Man, which is very intriguing. It says, quote, "This is a shakedown and extortion of our manufacturers. Does anyone track the funds or payouts? No, it'll end up in the pockets of the Democrat elite who fly over the world and board large yachts to fight climate change." Ironic, but true. And yeah, also, other countries don't do this to their manufacturers to the extent. Again, the number 1 polluters on the planet is China, or Trump would say China, as well as India. And yeah, let's just say it seems to be the Americans really get kneecapped in terms of our economy and our jobs with, the EPA kneecapping. But nevertheless, again, if you're in the most regulated industry, again, one of the most regulated industries being the automobile industry, they're going to be checking you and you're eventually going to get caught for this. And you're going to have to pay these fines, which, again, these are fines that could go to making the vehicles more reliable. Well, more real. I don't think they would actually do that. Stellantis, they'd probably just pocket it. But nevertheless, in theory, that would be passed on to the consumer, making the vehicles more reliable or increasing customer service. And these are funds that can no longer be put to good use, so to say. So if I don't agree with these mandates and everything, again, so I gotta say, Stellantis, this defeat device and this payout, I gotta say, you're certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.